NASCAR banned a car for being too successful. We're not talking about a modern scandal or a technical loophole. In 1970, Buddy Baker pushed a Dodge Charger Daytona past 200 miles per hour at Talladega. NASCAR's response? Change the rules and effectively ban the car from competition. This thing was so dominant that the sanctioning body had to step in. Today we're diving into the 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona, the winged warrior that was literally too fast for NASCAR's liking. By 1968, Dodge had a problem on the NASCAR circuit. The redesigned Charger looked aggressive and aerodynamic, but it was getting destroyed on the track. Ford was dominating with their Torino Talladega and Mercury Cyclone spoiler. The 1968 Charger's recessed rear window and upright front grille created massive drag. According to the NASCAR Hall of Fame, the car's aerodynamic properties were closer to a brick than a race car. Dodge lost races, Plymouth lost Richard Petty to Ford, something had to change. Dodge tried the Charger 500 first, a modified version with a flush rear window and a nose cone. Racing versions won 18 NASCAR events in 1969. Sounds good, right? Ford won 30 that same year. So Dodge went back to the wind tunnel. Engineers worked with Chrysler's missile division, yes, actual rocket scientists, to create something radical. The result was the Charger Daytona, named after the speedway where Dodge wanted to prove themselves. Here's the catch. NASCAR rules in 1969 required manufacturers to build 500 production versions of any car they wanted to race. These had to be real cars sold to actual customers through dealerships. Dodge produced 503 Charger Daytonas to meet this requirement. Recent research by enthusiasts and the Daytona Registry suggests the actual number may have been closer to 500, with some prototype and test vehicles accounting for the difference. Number 1 distinctive feature, the nose cone. Dodge added an 18-inch pointed fiberglass extension to the front. This wasn't just for looks. Wind tunnel testing showed it reduced drag significantly and created downforce to plant the car at high speeds. Number 2, the wing. That massive 23-inch tall rear stabilizer wasn't a styling gimmick. At racing speeds, the standard Charger suffered from rear-end lift. That wing provided stability and kept the car glued to the track. It was adjustable through 12 degrees, allowing teams to tune aerodynamics for different tracks. The modifications also included flush rear window glass, a window cap to fill the Charger's recessed rear window area, fender-mounted brake cooling scoops, and stainless steel A-pillar covers. According to Dodge's documentation, the complete aerodynamic package reduced wind drag by 23% compared to the Charger 500. These weren't built on the regular Charger assembly line. Every Daytona started life as a 1969 Charger R/T at the Hamtramck plant. Then they were shipped to Creative Industries in Detroit, the same company that built numerous special vehicles for manufacturers. Creative Industries added the nose cone, wing, and all the other modifications. According to legend, Dodge actually lost around $1.500 per unit because of the extensive modifications required. At a base price of around $3.860, that's a significant loss per car, but Dodge needed these cars on the street to race them on Sunday. Buyers had two engine choices. The standard power plant was the 440 Magnum, a 7.2-liter V8 making 375 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque. This was the engine in most Daytonas, and it was more than capable for street driving. The optional engine? The legendary 426 Hemi. Only 70 of the 503 Daytonas got this engine. The Hemi produced 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque. Recent research by Daytona enthusiasts examining factory shipping documents suggests the actual Hemi production number might have been closer to 40 units, 35 for the US market and 5 for Canada. Both engines could be paired with either a 4-speed manual transmission or the 3-speed TorqueFlite 727 automatic. The TorqueFlite was far more popular. It was bulletproof and could handle the massive torque without braking. All Daytonas came with the R/T package. That meant heavy-duty suspension with torsion bars, power front disc brakes, and a Dana 60 rear axle. Most were optioned with the A32 Super Performance axle package, which included a shore grip limited slip differential with 4.101 gears, perfect for acceleration. The Daytona made its racing debut at the inaugural Talladega 500 in September 1969. Richard Brickhouse drove it to victory, though the race was controversial. Top drivers had boycotted over tire safety concerns at the new superspeedway. But the Daytona kept winning. It captured 2 races in 1969 and 4 more in 1970. Its cousin, the 1970 Plymouth Superbird, won 8 races in 1970. At the 1970 Daytona 500, 23 of the 40 cars on the grid were either Daytonas or Superbirds. Chrysler's Aero Warriors were dominating NASCAR. On March 24, 1970, Buddy Baker did something no one had done before. During testing at Talladega, then known as Alabama International Motor Speedway, he pushed a Daytona past 200 miles per hour. His peak speed was 200.447 miles per hour on the 34th lap, after hitting 200.096 on the 30th lap. NASCAR founder Bill France and chief timer Joe Epton were present to certify the run. The car was inspected before the test to ensure legality. Baker's reaction was humble. "Gosh, it's the best feeling I've had in a long time. This is something that no one can ever take away from you, being the first guy to run 200 miles per hour on a closed-course circuit." This speed record stood for 17 years. NASCAR officials saw a problem. These Aero Warriors, the Daytona, Superbird, Ford Torino Talladega, and Mercury Cyclone Spoiler 2, were too successful. They were too fast. And they were potentially dangerous at these extreme speeds. For the 1971 season, NASCAR changed the rules. New regulations effectively banned the massive wings and nose cones that made these cars so effective. Cars with engines over 305 cubic inches couldn't use the aero modifications. Since the Daytona ran either a 440 or 426 cubic inch engine, it was done. The Charger Daytona raced for exactly 2 seasons. Then it was banned from the sport it was built to dominate. According to Jacques Duval, who tested a Daytona for Le Guide de l'Auto in 1969 at Circuit Mont-Tremblant, these cars weren't the untamable beasts you might expect. He actually recommended the 440 automatic combination over the Hemi for street use. The Hemi was too focused on racing performance. The Car Guide recently tested a restored 440 powered Daytona and reported that acceleration is strong and sustained from low revs. That 7.2 liters of displacement means torque is available everywhere. The surge isn't neck-breaking and power fades above 4,500 revolutions per minute, but the speedometer needle climbs fast. The steering is vague, typical for American cars of the era. The small disc brakes don't inspire confidence for spirited driving. But owners report the ride is comfortable, making long drives pleasant. Here's a real-world issue. The 117-inch wheelbase combined with that 18-inch nose extension made these cars difficult to park and maneuver in tight spaces. That wing made backing into garages interesting. According to Motor Trend, these practical considerations contributed to slow sales when the cars were new. The base price was around $4,600, about $418 more than a standard Charger R/T. In 1969, that was serious money. For context, a base Charger started around $3,000. Only 503 were built. Of those, just 70 had the Hemi engine. These are some of the rarest American muscle cars ever produced. Add in their racing pedigree, the 200 miles per hour record, and the fact that NASCAR banned them, and you have a perfect collector car story. According to Hagerty's valuation data, values range from $26,000 for a project car needing complete restoration to over $769,000 for a pristine numbers-matching example. But those are just baseline numbers. A one-owner Hemi Daytona with 43,000 miles, and believed to be the only B5 Blue Hemi Daytona ever built, is currently listed for $2.2 million by Cars. Remember when auto sales in Colorado. The original owner, Bob Curbs, ordered it new in 1969 when he was working for Union Pacific Railroad. An unrestored 1969 Daytona, with only 700 miles on the odometer, recently went to auction. This orange example with a 440 Magnum engine was described as one of the top unrestored Daytonas in the world. Hemi-powered examples routinely sell for $1.5 million or more at major auctions. A Hemi Daytona with only 6,490 miles sold for $1.3 million in early 2024, according to Hot Cars. Numbers matching drivetrain is crucial. Original paint and interior add significant value. Documentation, including the broadcast sheet, window sticker, and ownership history, makes a difference. Engine type is the biggest value driver. A Hemi Daytona can be worth 3 to 5 times more than a 440 car. Color matters too. Hemi orange and certain factory colors command premiums. Some color combinations are believed to be one-of-one builds. The Daytona and Superbird's ban marked the end of an era. After 1971, NASCAR moved away from requiring production versions of race cars. The cars became more standardized and less connected to what you could buy at a dealership. According to Motor Trend, this was the last time someone could buy almost the exact car they saw racing on Sunday. The Daytona accomplished exactly what it was built to do, and was so effective that motorsport had to legislate against it. Dodge has released several Daytona tribute editions over the years. In 2006 to 2009, the Charger Daytona R/T package included heritage colors, rear spoilers, and special badging. In 2013, a limited run of 3,000 units brought back Daytona styling. Most significantly, in 2019, Dodge released the 2020 Charger SRT Hellcat Widebody Daytona 50th Anniversary Edition. Limited to 501 units, matching the original production number, it featured 717 horsepower, exclusive B5 blue paint, and special Daytona badging. Base price was over $110,000. For 2024, Dodge introduced an all-electric Charger Daytona, though purists have mixed feelings about an electric car carrying the name. The NASCAR Hall of Fame recognizes the Daytona as one of the most significant race cars in history. It's displayed at major car events and museums. Owners who have original examples rarely drive them. Parts are scarce and expensive, and the value is too high to risk damage. The 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona was built for one purpose: winning races. It succeeded so well that NASCAR had to change the rules to stop it. Only 503 were made. Buddy Baker drove one past 200 miles per hour. Then it was banned. Today, these winged warriors are among the most valuable American muscle cars ever built. A Hemi version can cost over $2 million. Even 440 cars command 6 figures. They're hard to park, impractical as daily drivers, and parts are impossible to find. But they represent a unique moment in automotive history, when manufacturers built wild, extreme cars just to win on Sunday, and had to sell them to regular people to meet the rules. According to SlashGear, the Charger Daytona stands as one of the few cars in history that were so unconventional and effective that it took motorsport legislation to stop them. If you see one at a car show, take a long look. You're witnessing one of the 503 production cars that changed NASCAR forever. Drop a comment. What's your favorite NASCAR homologated street car? Should NASCAR have banned the Daytona or let it keep racing? And would you daily drive one of these if you could afford it? Don't forget to subscribe for more automotive history and muscle car deep dives. Do your research, know the history, and never forget the cars that pushed the limits.